Just a small introduction on Mr. Atul. Going ahead, Mr. Atul is an academia industry entrepreneur with an extensive experience in the corporate world and academia across India and Asia Pacific region. He is also an edtech, health tech, smart tech entrepreneur and an educator involved in coaching and mentoring several subjects in technical fields like database programming, big data, IoT, data science, management. He also has an extensive experience in strategy, marketing, and entrepreneurship at various levels. Today, we are here to gain insights with respect to digital transformation, which is an evident part of our lives and has changed the face of what we do today and the years to come. So, without any further ado, I'm going to let Mr. Atul take over and enlighten us. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Ankita, for the warm welcome and getting me introduced to the audience. Let me welcome all of you to this much-awaited webinar on digital transformation for digital leaders. So while our initial introduction and exchange of pleasantries is over, let's get straight to business. Yeah, I can see folks from all over the world, and what better way to actually talk about the digital engagement that we are having, sitting at the comfort of maybe our home or office, or some of you may be driving, we are still connected. And that's exactly what digital transformation can be experienced about. This is just one of the example, which is percolated and penetrated every walk of our life. So it's important we understand the nuances, the components, and the various different aspects of digital transformation. And the world is going digital today. Everything is run through technology. And when we say technology, it is the information and communication technology that is defining the new age businesses, new age innovation, and new age entrepreneurship. So, having said this, we also need leaders who can take up the digital journey to ensure that they keep the business running and at the same time look at innovation, look at creativity, and bring about new products, new services catering to the digital world. And to top it all, we are in a VUCA world as well. VUCA is an acronym, right? So we all know. VUCA basically stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. And the only answer to overcome VUCA is through digital transformation. The only way to minimize your risks, the only way to ensure that you have a better chance of success is through digital transformation. And that's why we are here. So glad to be part of this exercise and journey with UniAthena. And I'm certain you will have a lot of takeaways from this session today. So please keep your questions coming. We will take it at an appropriate and opportune time to answer all your queries. While hopefully I would have covered them all during the next 90 odd minutes. But yes, we will definitely take that up. Okay, so let's get straight. So what is the agenda that we're talking about? We look at the digital world. How is the digital world shaping? And how is the industrial revolution, or rather the digital industrial revolution, helping in shaping up the world, the digital world, the connected world, the smart world, if you want to call them? We will look at some opportunities in terms of digital disruption, digital innovation, and digital transformation. We will look at some case studies, some successful cases, and some unsuccessful ones as well. And then with the tenet of Industry 4.0, we will navigate through the digital transformation across different industries, different segments. And I will talk about the examples uh, and the implementation case studies. And then how is it that we can embrace the change? And that's where leadership traits, leadership qualities would be essential for not only overlooking on getting the digital transformation implemented, but also understanding the nitty-gritties and the depth to which every digital leader needs to go through and get everything connected, right? So the way I would put out is that digital transformation is a journey which manifests only when I connect all the dots when it comes to an organization functioning as a well-oiled machine, right? So that's what we are into. So that's digital transformation. And just to put things in the right perspective, we have seen industrial revolution for over centuries, right? So we started with Industry 1.0, wherein it was the use of water and steam to get the mechanical uh, work or mechanical components coming together and working together. Then it was replaced by the electricity generated, the electrical power, mainly for mass production. That is when we start looking at the assembly lines and increasing the productivity from the factories. That was in the early 20th century. And then in the later part of 20th century and 21st century, we are talking about the electronics and IT, information technology, shaping up the world with a lot of advancement when it comes to uh, information collecting, information collating, and information sharing. And that is where we are today in a cyber physical system. It is an interconnected cyber physical system, basically uh, to look at all the physical aspects being connected through digital means. And this is what is shaping up new businesses, bringing up new opportunities, be it in job, be it in innovation, be it in new businesses, new processes, so on and so forth. Right. So the perspective is what I wanted to cover with this slide. And what are we talking about when we say Industry 4.0? It's all about the connected devices. IBM survey, Cisco survey, and a few other biggies had predicted in the year 2015 that by the year 2020, 2022, there would be more connected devices on this planet Earth than the population all put together. And we have achieved that a long time back. So we're talking about connected devices which to each other, wherein we talk about IoT. This is when we say connected devices, we talk about the Internet of Things. So these connected devices are not just connected for the sake of being connected. They are collecting data, they are collating data, they are sharing data and consuming data at the same time. So that brings in the intelligence part of it. So the devices are bringing in or building the intelligence. And that is what is transforming the businesses. So we have intelligent assets, we have intelligent products, we have intelligent businesses, and then, of course, intelligent people uh, who would basically look at consolidating all that they would know in terms of their business knowledge, the market knowledge, and the data that would come from all of these cyber physical systems to bring about a convergence of better understanding and moving towards data driven decision making. Ultimately, when we say intelligent businesses, it's all about how businesses would decide to conduct their business, how businesses would decide to take on the competitive landscape, how would the businesses look at introducing new products, new services, new processes, and new engagement ways with their customer, with the markets. So that is what Industry 4.0 has brought about. It's a sea change in the way we conduct our business. And this is leading to a lot of opportunities, as I speak about. And just to again tell you that there have been a lot of misconceptions that Industry 4.0, especially with the advent of data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, are eating away our jobs. But then if we look at the lessons from the Industrial Revolution, right, from 1.0 to where we are today, it's a journey of starting with mechanization to mass production to automation and connected systems today. And the misnomer or the myth that we all listen to is about the job reduction or jobs being replaced, which is a fact. And that's a fact from Industry 1.0 onwards. It's not a new phenomenon. So it is nothing to worry about. It's only that we need to align ourselves and probably look at reskilling and upskilling ourselves to align with the trend and to capitalize on the opportunity that is building up. And it is building up really, really fast. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about job options, we are talking about innovation, we are talking about increased growth, business growth. We are also talking about optimization of the services being utilized because we are all signatory to the Sustainable Development Goals, which talks about people, planet, and profits coming at the same time. So I need to optimize my resources. I need to optimize the extent to which I would go about in expanding my business, for which I would need to look at innovation. I would look at new ways of producing new goods for the new markets, for the new consumers, right? And that is where the job options are also being created. So the job opportunities that we all have are towards the Industry 4.0 components, which would be the Internet of Things, the data science application, data-driven decision making, blockchain, then cloud computing, taking it to the next level, Web 3.0, 3D printing, augmented reality, virtual reality, so on and so forth, right? So if you look at it, these are the digital transformation trends that are shaping up, just to name a few, right? Okay, so that would mean that we need to spend a lot on research and development on the tech aspect of it, research and development on the new age business models, research and development in understanding the market, the competitive landscape, and the consumer behavior, so that I exactly know what is needed by the market, what is needed by the customers, and what is it that I can provide them with. Okay, so and as digital leaders, you need to be aware of all of these different aspects and all of these different factors. So digital transformation is actually not just the digital part of it. Digital transformation is basically the focus on the transformation. And the transformation comes across various different aspects of the business, various different aspects of the economic cycle that we talk about. It's more to do with people than to do with technology. It is more to do with the market conditions than just the technology aspect of it. So technology is just an enabler. And the best part of it is, or maybe the pitfall, is that technology has a fast pace of changing itself from what it was a decade back to what it is today. It's a ocean of change that we see, right? And leaders need to understand this and align themselves to all the changing elements, all the changing aspects of conducting the business. So let's take a look at digital disruption and the opportunities, right? So, what are those disruptors? Uh, Cause and changes in the expectations of the businesses. Everybody wants to be doing great business. Everybody wants to make good profit, for which they need good, qualified, skilled, and competent individuals for running organizations, governments. And then there is a lot of this element coming in from the technology, from the business side, from the people side, and the society. While we talk about Industry 4.0, we are also moving towards Society 5.0, which is mainly the sustainability aspect of it, because we only have a planet. We don't have a planet B. So, what is it that we need to do? Climate change, global warming, the challenges that the society is facing will have to be solved, and digital transformation is the way. And we will talk about it. So, what is needed? Digital upgrade, digitization, digital disruption, and digital transformation all coming together. The convergence of all of this is what is going to help all of us live a better life. So there will be a lot of digital disruptors. It could be at the individual level, it could be at a collective level, it could be at the organizational level, it could be at a country level. So we would have digital disruptors and new business models riding on digital capabilities. One of it is what is enabling us to connect, which is Zoom, right? A wonderful collaborative tool. It's a classic example of a digital disruption. We also have the usual examples of the Uber, the Airbnb, and the Amazons of the world. And if you see, all of it are being driven by that one single thread of digital connectivity, digital disruption, and digital transformation. Technology driven business models are calling the shots. That would mean that we need to spend and put in our efforts in the innovation side of it to ensure that technology is accessible, available, and affordable to the masses. Just like internet democratized the access to information, digital transformation is going to democratize the way people would interact with each other, people would transact with each other, businesses would build on the transformation, and we would have a well connected, well knit, well informed, and a knowledgeable society going forward. So, all of this put together is what brings in the technology, which is which is enabling the dematerialization and the democratization, as I just mentioned, of data, information, and knowledge to make use of it and build better businesses, better processes, better understanding of the markets, and connecting with the consumers and customers across. Okay, so that is where digital disruption and opportunities are all taking shape. But it's not just enough to look at these aspects without talking about some examples. So let's look at a few examples and then we go deep into it. Right? Okay. So if at all there is any question that needs to be addressed, probably you can interject and let me know.
Atul, just to interrupt you for a minute. So attendees, as you know, we already have put a link to one of the new courses that we have just launched, which is MBA in Digital Transformation. So I would just like you all to put a yes or a no if you are interested in this course. Put your answers in the chat box. That if you're interested in one of the courses that we have just launched, which is MBA in Digital Transformation. Also, to let you know that today's webinar has a paid certificate at $10, and post the lecturing session, we'll be having a Q&A. So I want more and more questions coming in the Q&A so that we clarify all our doubts. Thank you. So you can go ahead.
Okay, cool. So let's look at some real world examples, right? So uh, we all know Dell, right? Dell as a PC company. But then, how many of us know that it was almost being written off in the year 2012, just 12 years back? And that's when Michael Dell decided to go private and look at how they can uh, capitalize on the market that they have built because of the declining PC businesses. Uh, that was something that has been the norm from 2012 onwards because of the advent of smaller form factors. So declining PC business was a major concern. So they had to look at how they will capitalize and ride upon the digital transformation the world has been seeing for the last decade. And that's when they moved from just being known as a PC company to being known as a data center solution company, building data centers, talking about the server side of it, talking about new form factors, and most importantly, storage. Right? We talk about digital transformation. We can't miss out on the most important factor, which is the storage. We're talking about data coming to us in various different ways, various different forms, and various different formats, be it structured data, unstructured data, semi structured data. Michael Dell, or Dell as a company, identified that storage business is going to be the next big business way back in the year 2013. And they acquired EMC in the year 2016. And incidentally, I was with the Dell EMC then, rather with Dell, and I've seen how the company transformed from just being known as a PC selling business to a complete digital transformation solution company, wherein they have the compute, they have the storage, they have the communication, they have the network, and they have software solutions, whether it is for individuals, for corporates, for organizations, for research and development institutions, for cloud service providers, for innovators, for entrepreneurs, so on and so forth. And today, you know where they are. They are into anything and everything when it comes to digital, right? So that's one story I wanted to share. There are a few more. Well, uh, Dell being in IT, being in the digital world, of course, they knew and they 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 worked on it. But then it's not just limited to the IT companies alone. Look at BMW Group. Their vision was to have AI for everyone. And when we say everyone, it is not you and me. It's that last mile employee, last mile uh, person who's working on all the various different aspects of BMW manufacturing and assembly line and supply chain. So, what did they do? They came out with implementing the entire digital transformation across the organization to ensure that every employee, the last employee in the company, will be enabled and empowered to identify, rectify, and resolve any issue or defects early in the cycle. Maybe they identified that they were losing a lot of time, effort, and money on rectifying it at the last stage. Probably it would be better to get to know of it earlier, for which they had to enable the employees with the digital disruption. So what did they do? They developed and adopted this OpenVino, which is an open source toolkit, uh, which is also available for the automobile industry. After BMW implemented it, it became an industry norm. So they developed and adopted it, keeping in mind the challenges that BMW was facing. And because of this, the the advantage that they accrued of this is reducing their failure rates, increasing their quality assurance and quality checks, and of course the quality of the product, which is always good. It became even better. So small interventions is what will bring about the necessary changes and the right impact. So it's the right decision at the right time to have the right impact on the business is what digital transformation or digital disruption brings onto the table. Let's look at these were two success stories, but let's look at some failed companies or products, right? You would know many of them. I will talk about a few. We all know Kodak, right? So Kodak was into the films, right? So films for photographs, films for the X-rays, right? Healthcare, and films for various other purposes that would be needed for research and development and innovation. Kodak was doing really good, but then they lost out on the digital photography aspect of it, right? We all know. So probably they didn't know what was changing, and they held on. So the digital transformation, which should have happened, because digital photography is what was just about the corner to happen, but Kodak didn't recognize it, or probably they were early in the curve. Now, why am I saying that? Is because many of us may not know, but when we talk about digital cameras, the name that would come to your mind would be Canon, right, or Nikon, or even for that matter, Minolta. But then, way back in the 1970s, late 70s, is the time when Kodak actually demonstrated the first digital photographic camera. Many of us don't know. But yes, they were too early in the curve. When nobody knew what digital was, they were too early in the curve. So, being early uh, in the market is also detrimental. So, that was one of the failures of Kodak. Who doesn't know Nokia? Right? Nokia, who was the market leader when it came to mobile telephones, lost out on the smartphone disruption. But not that they didn't have smartphones, but yes, they didn't capitalize on it. Again, the same story of Kodak is what Nokia repeated. History repeats itself, uh, right? So it's a classic example of how Nokia couldn't capitalize on the strength that they had. Maybe they were misled, or maybe uh, they didn't anticipate the market to change so rapidly. Uh, by the way, Nokia was the first company who came out with a smartphone. I don't know how many of you know of the communicator, which was launched in the late 1990s. They were the first one to actually talk about smartphones, but they were a decade early, before the smartphone era caught up, right? Yes. Who doesn't know Yahoo? Okay. Uh, well, there is a story of the founders of Google going to Yahoo for selling Google, right? Uh, this is like what, probably 20 years, two decades back. And Yahoo, being Yahoo at that time, uh, didn't think of even looking at Google at that point in time, because it was just a search engine. But you know what has happened to Yahoo now and where Google is, right? Same thing with Blockbuster. Netflix is the one that capitalized on the model of Blockbuster, right? MySpace is nowhere, right? So there have been a lot of failures because of not able to transform themselves into the digital business, digital era. And that's very important. So what is that is basically, look at this. The incumbent was Yahoo, and the disruptor was the Google. And in fact, Google actually approached Yahoo for selling what Google was doing. Good that Yahoo didn't buy it. Probably we wouldn't have seen Google the way it is today, right? So the disruptor was Google. For blockbuster video, the disruptor was the Netflix. And for IBM, IBM is still IBM, but then the disruptor was Dell, especially with Dell and Dell EMC and all of it coming together, right? So we always need to be knowing who could be our disruptor when we talk about digital transformation or digital business. So that's the reason for digital leaders, it's important to look in the past as to what has happened. And it's important I learn from all of this. So that's where the innovation, the entrepreneurship, and the new ideas being put into the market is to be closely looked by the incumbents. Otherwise, very soon they would become the disruptor, and you may be out of business. And if you look at the the entire ecosystem, the way it is all shaping up is through the consolidation of the smaller companies who have been really innovative and agile and faster into the market have been acquired by the big guys, the biggies, right? And some of them have become big on their own as well, thanks to digital disruption. But then it's not easy to deal with digital disruption. So, what is it that digital leaders need to know? The solution is not to do nothing or to delay decisions. It's not about delaying decisions. It's not about not doing anything. There is a lot that needs to be done, and the time is now. So, the only guarantee is that there will be more uncertainty in the future. Yes, I told you, we are in the VUCA world. So, uncertainty is going to remain. Uncertainty about stability, uncertainty about geopolitical nature of the way businesses are run across the globe is all very, very uncertain, very complex, and ambiguous at the same time. So it's volatile and uncertain. So if you have to do it now. And that's the agility with which digital leaders need to look at digital disruption and digital transformation. So organizations definitely need to plan for when, not if disruption comes. No, it's not about if, it's about when that you will get your acts together. Okay, so Gartner gives us a 6A or A6 action model, right? So you analyze, right? Basically, you analyze about the market, about the solution, about your strengths and weaknesses. So you can say wait and watch, wait and see, or else you attack the disruption, attack the disruption by being more innovative, or maybe by acquiring that disruptor, or look at alternative course. Alternative course also would mean that you need to bring about a lot of innovation, a lot of imagination, a lot of creativity in ensuring that you have a better alternative. And that's exactly what is shaping up thanks to Industry 4.0 and the access to technology. And when I say access to technology, it is at a pay-per-use kind of a model, right? The cloud model. I don't have to invest heavy on my hardware or on my software or on my connectivity or even for that matter on uh, any of the data storage and security and all of it, right? So so in some cases, maybe I will have to build partnerships or ecosystems. So I will ally with someone. So that's where mergers and acquisitions would happen. Buy your way out, that's where you will acquire somebody, right? Or you will sell it to somebody. Or then deny the existence. That's the worst to do. You can't avoid, right? Avoid and you should avoid avoiding, right? So that's where you need to uh, look at. So where do you fit in as a leader is very important for you to look at all of these different choices to deal with disruption or basically change. So the change management is very important for digital leaders to be aware of. And this gives us an indication of what leaders need to focus on, right? It is circumstantial and it is situational at the same time. So factors driving, let's again look at this. Driven by factors both on the supply and demand side. There is a trend that is shaping up. There is this ecosystem that has already taken off. Everybody who's working on it. So there is always this demand and supply that needs to be looked into. What is it that you're trying to look at? So from the supply side, it is the technological advancements, the technological developments, the the advent of cloud, the advent of internet, then a lot of programming that goes into cloud computing and application programming, smartphones, digital apps, bringing about the APIs for interoperability and interconnectivity between apps, between data, and for sharing knowledge. So on the supply side, all of this is being taken care of. Whereas on the demand side, there is a change in the consumer behavior, consumer expectations, and the business needs. So today, businesses are running 24 by 7. That is where the demand the demand exists. So how do I bring in that automation of my business, which can keep running 24 by 7, catering to the market and the consumers across the globe living in different time zones? So I need to understand these factors, which is from the marketing side. And then if you look at the digital disruption, this is where I spoke about, right? So about music, photography, and video rentals, and all of it. There have been these waves of digital disruptions that have happened every 5 to 10 years. So it was the music, the photography, and video rentals, wherein we talk about the blockbuster and the Netflix and all of it taking shape. And then in the 2010s, in the year 2010 onwards, we look at the disruption that has happened in the print media, in the travel industry, in the entertainment, that is the television industry, and human resources. By the year 2015, we have seen all of the industries being disrupted at some level or the other. And now, what we are talking about is that all safe havens will be subject to digital disruption. Everyone. What started probably 2, 3 decades back, it's the norm today. And that's where I think we all need to look at understanding the 3Ds when it comes to digital transformation. We need to understand digitalization, and then look at digital transformation as well. So let's understand what is digitization. Is basically the change in the physical form from analog to electronic form or analog to digital form, and also a better way of organizing my information, right? The way I organize my information in terms of putting it in the right database formats, right? From DBMS to RDBMS, it's quite a journey that we have had. So I'm able and capable of organizing the information in a better way. Now that has led to the digitalization, wherein we are using digital technologies and the information that I have. The information is basically the data that has got digitized, right? Which will be used for improvising and automating my processes, streamlining my processes to an extent that I can cater to 24 by 7 business. And then the digital transformation is a leapfrog into the way every connected system within my organization, outside of my organization, in the marketplace, across the globe, all come together. So the transformation at the institution level from different aspects, not just by the technology side of it, but from the market side of it, from the human resource side of it, from the production side of it, from supply chain, from operations, so on and so forth, is what is digital transformation all about. Right on? Okay. There's somebody who has raised their hand. Any questions that needs to be looked into? Anything?
Sir, will be taking up some questions in some time.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
So
So
we have the record of the people who have asked questions, and we'll definitely answer all the questions. Thank you.
good. Okay, that's right. So let's go forward then in that case. So when we talk about some of the top rung executives, right? So what are they to say? The five epiphanies of the leading executives about digital transformation. What are they to say? Is that digital transformation was never just about the technology, right? As I mentioned, it's to do with a whole lot of other things when it comes to getting it implemented in a successful manner. For an organization to be successful with digital transformation, it's not just the technology, it is a whole lot of other things that we spoke about, which is the human element is the key to success. Oh, yes. So it is, while I talk about technology, I also need to talk about people and the processes that would be needed for the change management. Traumatic stress has hijacked corporate strategy, right? When we talk about digital transformation, there's a lot of stress. That's because many of us don't know where to start, how to start, and what to do. And that's why some will win, some will lose, but few will do it alone, right? I will go alone by applying the Gartner's A6 uh, choices, or whatever the choices that I make. I will win, I will lose, or I will do it alone. And health is the key to sustainability. Health is this business health, right? Business health is the key to sustainability of the business, keeping in mind the desirability coming in from the demand side of it, the feasibility coming in from the supply side of it, and the viability of it from the market side, which would bring about the sustainability for the entire business and the ecosystem all put together. So while we have seen some of the challenges, while we have seen the opportunities, and we have seen some of the successes and failures, there is a need for an integrated ecosystem to be able to come together for bringing about the impact and the effectiveness of digital transformation as a whole. So what is it that we need to look at? Adopt adapt to the integrated ecosystem, which is mainly to talk about bringing in innovation. As leaders, this is something that you need to think of from bespoke development. Right, bespoke is I would develop it the way I want it. I will develop it only for me. Right, which is like what was happening earlier as client server applications. Right, so from bespoke development of their software services. We are building software services to SaaS based, cloud based services. SaaS is basically software as a service. Now, this is being taken to the next level because of the advent of a newer technology platform, which is I will not just give software as a service, I can give platform as a service, I can give infrastructure as a service, I can give process as a service, I can give data as a service. So I have a lot to provide when we talk about the ecosystem. And my digital ecosystem is all about technology, people, channels, and strategy all coming together. Only when I have people using the right technology and the right technology for the people to ensure that the processes are all taken into account in line with the strategy, I would know exactly how I would reach out to the market and to my consumers through various different channels. So, what are the advantages? Reduced development times. I'm faster to the market, right? It's not just the development times, it's also reduction in my initial investment, which is the capex, capital expenditure, and greater compliance to assurance, quality assurance, service assurance, right? Because I'm bringing in um, a lot of certainty into it, and then stronger innovation. I innovate better because I have access to the necessary inputs for me to be innovative, for me to be creative. And then I would still have the challenges here while I'm integrating the entire ecosystem. The seamless integration is still a challenge because I have systems working in silos, data being collected and collated in silos which don't talk to each other. So there is problem of not just integration, there are problems of interoperability as well. And that leads to the questions of manageability. And now that you know that there are advantages, I definitely need to address these challenges. And these challenges need to be identified early enough, just like what BMW did, uh, and get your leadership skills, leadership traits uh, to be applied to solve these challenges. I spoke about interoperability. Yes. Right. Okay. So having said this, let's look at one more case study. Right. IBM Adobe case study. What did they do? Right. So basically, it is talking about uh, how they are changing the narrative. And what is it that they started from? From 40 different digital asset management repositories to one. They were managing 40 different digital asset managements. I spoke about the silos, right? I spoke about different systems working together. They're all working really fine. But then now is the time to get all of it interconnected. And IBM had this problem. They had 40 different digital asset management repositories, which had to converge into one. And look at that, the next one. From 10,500 unique templates to a handful of easy reusable templates. Again, a consolidation. And translation that used to take 14 days now happens in 3 to 5 days. Okay, so translation of the requirement to the business is what we're talking about. And how did they do that? IBM had grown to over 40 million web pages. Now imagine, this is a classic case of content management, right? 40 million web pages, right? 40 different digital assets, managing 40 million web pages, right? They had to unify it. Otherwise, it would have been uh, unmanageable. So, how did they go about doing it? 40 digital asset repositories, thousands of content locations that housed over uh, a million, close to a million assets across, right? So, to bring all of this together, they took the help of Adobe uh, to work together on ensuring that they have a content management strategy, a digital asset management consolidation, and then bringing about a complete digital transformation. In this case, a digital disruption, a small digital disruption of consolidation, which led to the digital transformation. Right? Okay. So the one more, Lenovo and Adobe case study. What did they do? Again, Lenovo being the PC company as it was known, it's no longer just a PC company. So what did they look at? They looked at the market-driven, data-driven insights, and they laser targeted a video game product because they identified that the Gen Z, the Gen Y, X, Y, Z is more into the gaming aspect. So the experience that was to be given was on the digital experience of the games, the video game product. So they worked with Adobe again for building in the 4K and high-res uh, products, which would bring about, this is like aligning together, right? So one of the A's, they came together to bring about that sweet spot of business wherein you win, I win, right? For every Lenovo PC that gets sold, there is an Adobe component that gets sold, that gets attached to it, right? So this is how the digital transformation, even with the smallest of the things, would accrue more business and better profitability for all involved. Okay, So, what is it that we need to seek answers for digital disruption? Balancing the local and global needs. Where do I start from? Right? It's a problem of plenty. So, I need to balance the local and global needs because we are talking about catering to the demand and supply and aligning with the industry trends, right? As we spoke about, right? So there is a lot of this trend that uh, that we have to write upon, which is digital transformation, right? Industry 4.0, sustainability, society 5.0, web 3.0, opportunities galore, right? Innovation in relation to consumer engagement. I need to innovate to ensure that I'm engaged with my market, with my consumer, with my customers effectively. And then from customization to personalization to hyper personalization, this is the trend. This is exactly what we are looking at. For example, if you were to look at the Airbnb or Amazon kind of an approach, not an approach, an example, we are talking about they going from customization, right? Customization is for the mass, personalization is for a section of the people. Hyper personalization is something which is very, very personal to me. So their recommendation systems are becoming more and more hyper personalized, wherein they exactly know what you would need. What is what is it uh, that will entice you to be on Amazon and not look for anything else, right? So this is the transformation in the market that is happening, which will have to be catered by the digital disruption and digital transformation. So opportunities galore. But the question is, how will you do it? When will you do it? And why should you do it? Right? So all these questions come up. So we do have an answer. So all of these industries are disrupted today. You talk about the oil and gas, whether it is the upstream, downstream supply chain, all of it is completely digital today. You talk about banking, you talk about construction, you talk about transport, e-commerce, logistics, healthcare. All of these industries have been benefiting and benefited from the digital disruption that has been happening over decades. And how is that happening? Let's take a look at this. Okay, so digital marketplace. This is something that connects with all of us. So when we talk about the digital marketplace, the first thing that comes to our mind is the e-commerce, right? The e-tail, the e-commerce websites like the Amazons, the Alibabas, the eBays, so on and so forth. So the digital backbone of a digital marketplace is what drives the entire business model. So these digital products act as a platform. The platform is where everyone would come. On one side, you're bringing in the suppliers, and on the other side, you're bringing in the consumers. So this is a multi-sided market which has been made enabled or has been made available and enabled because of the backbone of the technology, right? So not just the Amazons and the eBays, it's also about uh, a very common platform like my YouTube, right? So there is content, and there are people who consume the content. For example, Uber is also a multi-sided market wherein I have the uh, drivers on one side and I have the uh, folks who are seeking to be the mobility aspect of it, moving from one point to the other, right? So various different ways in which the multi-sided markets have been enabled and ensured that it opens up a new economic front for all who are involved in the multi-sided markets. So if you remember, we started with talking about the three P's for sustainability, right? Which is the planet, the people, and profit. Now, what is happening here is that I'm ensuring that I'm utilizing my resources in the best possible way, in the most economical way for maximizing my profits. And what better way than bringing about a digital backbone, a digital disruption, and digital transformation for connecting all the various different players and actors together. It could be for simple local need of finding a plumber, right? Okay. Multi-sided markets, then that is mainly because of the strong network effects that that we speak about, right? So as the number of users grow, the value of the product to users also increases. So more the users, more the value that would come in. And you will see umpteen such examples. The classic example is social media, right? So be it your Facebook, your Instagram, Twitter is X now, but still uh, many refer it as Twitter. Maybe the Snapchat, the LinkedIn, right? The eBays, the Alibaba, the Ubers, the rideshare apps, local apps, and the global apps. All of them work on this strong network effect. And who enabled this network effect? It's the digital disruption and the digital transformation. The network effect has been there for ever since humans have been interacting. But then this has made it even better, or this digital transformation has enabled it to the next level. Okay, so that's digital marketplace. And what are we talking about? Substantial economies, right? Economies of scale and scope. So I spoke about it. High fixed costs and low or zero variable costs. So it's that initial investment, and then it is the network effect that would bring about more business and more value for both the demand and the supply side of it. And then it helps in rapid scale, whether it is within a geographic location or across different countries, wherein it's that model, it's that business model and the digital application or digital transformation enabled application, which will enable the economies, which will enable the economy of scale. Right on. So it is basically built on a large amount of user data. More the users, more the data that comes to me, right? And that is where we need to reach out to the relevant audience, which is again through the digital means. It helps in creating that personalized experiences, not just customization, not just personalization, but hyper personalization, which will help in analyzing the buying behavior, the customer behavior, and sentiment analysis. Digital transformation is helping companies to analyze every interaction, every transaction that we have on digital assets through the use of CDPs, customer data platforms, which is collecting every data point, or rather, it is collecting every data of every engagement point you would have across any of the digital media, any of the social media, any of the digital assets that organization would have. So when we talk about digital transformation, it is that data which is the prime mover. So it's all about data. And then I would have multiple business models, right? So you all know of this, Amazon being one of it, wherein it has integrated many of the sellers coming together across different products, different verticals, and then you have buyers from all over. And then they have their own supply chain and distribution channel at the same time. Okay, who doesn't know how banking sector has changed, right? We have stopped going to the branches uh, because I don't need to, right? So banking as a digital platform is a concept, or was a concept probably 2 decades back. Today, it's all through a platform. I would do it on through their website earlier. Now I do it through the app. How did this happen? This happened because of the digital disruption and the digital transformation of all the operations of the banking sector. So that has made the banks to look at something beyond just the financial services. So banks are no longer just a financial service provider. They are partnering and collaborating with partners for delivering their service. Maybe it could be the financial management aspect, maybe it could be financial products, maybe it could be financial advice, and a whole lot of other things that can come along. And that helps in catering to the customer's needs end to end. So many of them have been converted to digital banks, virtual banks. You can look around your own ecosystem where this has happened. And retail banking is no longer solely branch based. It's all through the app. If you want to open an account, it all happens through the app. The know your customer formality is all done through the app, wherein you get onto a video recording of yours, uploading it there, uploading your digital documents for establishing your identity, and then your account gets opened. So I don't need to get into uh, the branch, physically going to the branch. And when I have so much data, this is where extensively banks are using algorithms in the back end to find your spending patterns, your buying pattern, your saving patterns, your aspirations, your needs, your motivations, all of it in the back end through consumer behavior analysis and sentiment analysis, for which I need to work on big data. I need to work on machine learning and artificial intelligence systems and bring about blockchain for ensuring that the transaction safety and security is up notch, right? And then through fintech and platform based approach, which the classic example that I can talk about is the way uh, fintech is shaping up across the world. Fintech is disrupting the way financial services are being rendered. So a state of fintech, let's take a look at it because we're talking about fintech. The investment that has happened in this segment is phenomenal, right? Because the way this market is maturing in terms of not just the products, but across different subsectors, whether it is for lending, whether it is for loans, whether it is for saving, whether it is for wealth creation, whether it is uh, for stock market, right? Equities, derivatives, everything is being brought onto the digital platforms. And if you see the way it has grown, it's a story in itself. But then is it only the fintech, right? So for payments, for banking, for digital lending, and wealth tech is what I just spoke about. Okay. So is it only about fintech? No. Oh, supply chain, right? So let's take this example. This is Norway's leading children and baby products retail chain. They've been there for a long time. The challenge was the connection between warehouses and stores needed rethinking. Now, what would that mean? Is that I have good warehouses, but then the stores have grown so much that it's becoming difficult to manage the demand and supply of getting the right products at the right stores, because not all stores would have the requirement for the same products. The demand would be different across different stores. So, what was the solution that they thought of? Technology focused, rather technology enabled, cloud powered integrated platform. Okay, what would that mean? New state of the art warehouse which utilizes robotics to bring about quicker identification of the products and quicker shipping, right? Stores and customers get the right products faster. Now, what does that mean? They get the product faster because I exactly know where the product is lying in my warehouse. and where it needs to go. And how is that happening? It is all data driven. So the DDDM is coming in picture here. DDDM is data driven decision making. So data and analytics allows the company to understand customers better and to route their products to the right retail chains or the retail outlets. And taking it further, it also helps, right? When we talk about data and analytics, it's not just about the consumer, it's not just about the customer, or not just about your product. It would also help in finding the least traveled route to reach multiple destinations because they would have different retail chains or retail outlets in different locations uh, of the country and of within the city as well. So by doing this, it helps in optimizing the route of their supply chain, which helps in reducing the amount of fuel that is being used. That is the impact which would accrue over a long time. And that is exactly what digital transformation is all about, right? Let's look at ed tech, right? So we are all in this ed tech online education. Uh, is ed tech the next fintech? Yeah, probably yes, right? So AI driven education, we are talking about it. Social learning, big data analytics, and adaptive learning. So learning is changing, and we are seeing it, right? We are all here. This is a classic example of edtech being put to use to its best. There is immersive learning possibility wherein I can collaborate with folks from different walks of life, from different geographic locations, to bring about their perspective, their understanding, and their challenges, so that we can all come together to solve those problems. And ultimately, when we talk about digital transformation, it is all for one reason, is and which is solving the problems of the business, of not just now, but also ensuring that the businesses run in a sustainable manner going forward in the future as well. Then e-learning has been there for a long time, gamified learning, personalized learning, and blockchain, and all of it being put to use again. So if you look at it, many of it, why many? Everything that has been listed here is all driven by technology, by Industry 4.0 technology, be it cloud computing, be it blockchain, or maybe the big data analytics and adaptive learning, or even, for example, the next level that would be the augmented reality and virtual reality and IoT enabled learning, Internet of Things, connected. So this is something that looks to be a little old, but it still holds good. What are the various different ed tech companies who have been working from 2022 onwards across these 10 different technologies? Immersive learning, artificial intelligence, gamified learning, IoT, cloud computing, blockchain. So there are lot many who have been talking about it, especially in India, because India is the tech capital. Uh, there is a lot that is being happening, and there's a lot of investment because of the interest in aligning with all of these different technological advancements that is helping consolidation coming together. Right? Okay. How can we not talk about health tech or med tech? Right? We started with that, right? So yeah. So IT enabled, right? Information technology enabled, IoT enabled, Internet of Things enabled, medical and diagnostic devices. You would have experienced this during COVID. We went berserk in probably having these devices at home to monitor a simple health condition of just the temperature, pulse, and most importantly, oxygen saturation, SpO2. Right. So these devices, the small devices, were Bluetooth enabled, Wi-Fi enabled sometimes, right, which is led to the mass adoption of technology, and there's no looking back. Now, if that's the case, Just take, for example, how things would have changed in a healthcare delivery system in hospitals. I have remote ICUs being constructed. Uh, I have remote bed monitoring uh, being uh, being delivered as a new business model, as a care model, as a connected model for caring for the post-operative patients, which means to say that they are freeing up their beds and converting your bed at the home as a healthcare bed, which is taking care of your health needs. And everything is because of digital disruption. So, what is actually happening? The entire healthcare ecosystem is changing and is driven by digital transformation. It could be the data, uh, it could be the way you would engage with the patient, it would be the way data is being generated by the patient through the wearables, right? We talk about the Fitbits, we talk about the smartwatches, right? We talk about the apps. All of it is what we talk about the IoT, the Internet of Things enabled medical and diagnostic devices. So when we talk about healthcare, we talk about IOMT, right? Internet of Medical Things, Internet of Health Things, which is leading to a lot of data being collected and collated, which can be analyzed. So the analytics piece of it is also uh, shaping up. So it's on the health side of it, the medical side of it, and the clinical side, which is shaping up. And look at the ecosystem. Look at the interest across the globe when it comes to health tech, when it comes to med tech. It is unprecedented. They're working on building big data analytics on healthcare, bringing about blockchain for ensuring that there is no tampering of the health data, bringing about cloud technologies for connecting, right, and consolidating the data across different applications, right? So there is no dearth. Transportation, how can we forget? How can we neglect this? Wherein we are talking about mobility as a service, right? Very soon, because of digital transformation, because of digital disruption, we would all stop buying our own vehicles because it's just a click of a button or just a press on an app, which will bring about the necessary service to me. Now, how is that happening? It is through intelligent transport system. We are going much beyond Uber. Okay, Uber is just one last mile piece of it when we talk about mobility. But mobility is something that we need to look at across my city. So by having intelligent transport systems, I would ensure that a lot of automation would come in, right? So in-vehicle sensors combined with big data analytics and real-time information about the traffic movement will help me in choosing the right route to reach my destination. Of course, Google is doing that, but then we will have to look at it much beyond, not just for person mobility, people mobility. I will have to look at the fleet mobility as well. So I will have to look at load matching platforms. We already have Uber fleet. We have maritime transportation, all of it coming together, right? And then rail transportation at the same time. So when I talk about mobility, it's not just for the people from point A to point B. It is my logistics, my supply chain, my transport, my fleet, everything that needs to come together. And if I were to talk about all of this, it is the digital transformation that is going to help me in answering all the challenges across different challenges that we face, whether it is in the urban place or whether it is at the fleet level, at the logistic level, at the supply chain, or at the warehousing side of it. Right? Okay, so urban transport, let's look at this one example. So a digital technology quartet is what they talk about, right? Which is artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, automation, and big data analytics. They provide humongous opportunities when we talk about urban transport problem solution. For example, we all know that in urban or rather cities, we always have this issue of traffic jams or heavy traffic during office hours, right? And then we also have the lack of choice for consumers because I only have Uber. Why not having more? And then there is also on the other side the inefficient utilization of vehicles and spaces. Many vehicles are idle most of the time, and some vehicles there is no idle time at all. So I have to look at it from the demand and supply side simultaneously, which will help me in my sustainability aspect of it, which is mainly of reducing the pollution. Of course, we are moving away from fossil fuel to EV, but then there's still a long way to go. So, what is it that needs to be looked at? Is again data driven decision making, data driven new public transport services. So there is this example of Vietnam. It's a experiment that was done in Germany. It's a US German joint venture, which looked at the on demand dynamic data driven public mobility, not just personal mobility, but the public mobility to ensure that everyone gets onto the public transport rather than depending on individual or private transport. This would help in taking care of the choco blocks that we would have on the roads, and at the same time, better utilization of the physical resources, in this case, the public transport system, and bringing about that platform based, that digital platform by uh, by mimicking or by aligning with the ride sharing concepts of Uber or Didi, which would mean that I would look at not just the public transport, but personal transport of not just the four wheelers, but also the smaller bikes and the scooters and even the bicycles. Right. So there's a lot that can happen when we start looking at the innovation aspect driven by technology, and that is exactly what we uh, we talk when we talk about digital disruption and digital transformation. I would want you to pay a little bit attention on this emerging technologies. Again, referring to Gartner, this is the Gartner hype curve, hype cycle. Look at what are the emerging technologies, right? So it's important you look at the colors here. So what we should be focusing is on the lighter blue. Let's look at this. We talk about AI augmented, generative AI, right? Generative AI is top of the town. Um, Cloud out of edge, open source program offices, right? And then cloud sustainability, value stream management platforms, then post-quantum cryptography and GitOps are some of the new emerging technologies. And if you see, when we say emerging technologies, these are all the disruptions that are happening. Whereas many of them would probably fall flat because they're still in the innovation side of it. Not everyone would go to the peak or maybe to be successful businesses, but then uh, this is the trend which we have to capitalize on. And if you see, it's all driven by latest industry 4.0 technologies, 4.0 uh, what's a uh, technologies and 4.0 elements all coming together, the convergence of all, right? Now, so what are the opportunities? Maybe after this, I can hand it over to Ankita. So opportunities for you is that new age businesses are enabled and empowered by latest technology, not just cloud, but cloud with IoT, with big data and data analytics, uh, predictive analytics, all of it coming together is where the opportunity is. And leaders have to be on top of understanding the business, understanding the technology, understanding the challenges, and look at how implementations can happen. for successful businesses. Simplest of the lot is the chatbot that we are seeing, right? Gone are those days when we had people manning a telephone call. I have chatbots. I have telebots, right? So we are seeing robots and we are seeing drones. Uh, Drones not just for delivery of goods, but drones for surveillance, drones for various different applications that we could see for safety, security, surveillance, robots for many things that we can talk about in the industry, artificial intelligence, smart factories. Oh yeah, so everything getting smart, right? We started with it. Intelligent, smart factories, smart cities, smart transport, smart utilities, everything getting smart. Surveillance and security, the video surveillance, CCTV surveillance, intrusion detection, uh, all of what say the security concerns being completely automated through the smart solutions that we have, and then cybercrime, right, which is very rampant these days, and then blockchain, of course. So once blockchain comes in, it becomes that much more easier for ensuring safe transaction of every digital interaction that we would have. Okay. Yes. So probably I will hand it over to Ankita to take a few questions. I will
Yes.
stop sharing, and I have a few more slides. Maybe I can take it depending on what the questions are.
Okay. So thank you, sir. Thank you for the extensive, session that we had. And I think the intensity with which we have covered disruptions and the case study, it was very informative. So thank you. Dear attendees, I would like you to know that basically we are now, we'll be looking after a PPT, which is the UniAthena PPT. By the time you have some gap where you can ask some questions in the chat box in the Q&A so that sir addresses them. Okay. You can just ask the questions in the Q&A chat box and we'll be answering all your questions. So as you can see that we are UniAthena and our aim is to be flexible, affordable, and accessible. We have been offering courses from various domains, all the academic domains, and including the short courses, the diploma courses. There are 100 plus course offerings that we offer. We are a part of the Westford Education Group. So Westford is the leading provider. Our partner accreditations you can see on the screen come from Aberte, come from Unimarconi, UCAM, SQA, and CIQ. These are the course offerings and the partner accreditations that come from and that we offer. So what do? We basically is an edtech platform offering affordable and accessible education, offering free to learn upskilling courses and providing affordable higher education, coming from the postgraduate diploma to degree and doctorate programs. Our learning model, as you can see on the screen, is made flexible to suit the needs of our learners, offering online delivery, self-paced learning, bite-sized education, and the pay-as-you-go option. So this is our special highlight, the pay-as-you-go option. We offer courses from various disciplines, as you can see on the screen, coming from marketing to finance to business law, blockchain, artificial intelligence, construction, international business, strategic management. These are the disciplines that we offer courses from. Our popular offerings are there on the screen, as you can see. Our most top rated courses that are taken up, which is Global MBA coming from Aberte, MBA Fast Track from Unimarconi, Master in Supply Chain, again from Unimarconi, Doctorate in Business Administration being offered through UCAM. So these are our popular offerings. These are some of the testimonials, the student talk, basically the happiness. Their happiness is our happiness. The day they take their certificates and degrees, this is what they have shared with us. For the flexibility and effectiveness that we offer, and the student support, the personal tutor support. So yeah, this screen basically shows our newest launch, which is MBA in Digital Transformation. That is why we are here for today. And we have got wonderful insights from Mr. Atul. He has really added to our existing knowledge base and helped us get more inclination and more clarity on the concepts in digital transformation. So this is the course, which is our recent course that we are offering, coming from Unimarconi. It's a 60 ECTS program course. And our panelists would be adding the link to this course in the chat box. Also, the link to our course platform, which is UniAthena.com. Just to inform you that today's session has a paid certificate for $10, and the recorded session for this particular webinar can be viewed on our YouTube channel. The link to it is provided in the chat box. Now we are open to having your questions. If you have any questions with respect to our courses, with respect to our offerings, with respect to digital transformation, specifically, we are here to answer them.